Today we will be interviewing Judge Rothrock. She was my judge in my case when I was a juvenile. And one of the reasons that I brought Judge Rothrock on here is to bridge the gap between community and systems, especially the judicial system. I want to get her perspective on, what she does as being a judge. I hope my experience can lead others to be a better version of themselves. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what you did. You can always change into a better version of yourself. I believe in that wholeheartedly. No matter what you did, don't think that's the end result. Always strive for more, and that's what I do. Just being, facing juvenile life 5 years ago to being where I'm at now, mentoring youth, having a podcast, being a leader in my community. Anything's possible, so it doesn't matter. Your worst mistake doesn't define who you are.
Who do we have here with us today?
Well, I'm Averil Rothrock, and you may know me as a judge on the King County Superior Court.
Awesome.
You may know me as a parent in Madrona. You may know me as a soccer enthusiast.
A jack of all trades, you'll say.
Lots going on, yeah.
My name is Tashon.washington. Yeah.
My name is Bryonta Thomas, and welcome to our new podcast and the new begins we have to.
You guys know the name, man. It's Trimarcogreen.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Oh, it's all good. We're
really excited to have you.
Pleasure to have you. So, can you tell us about your experience growing up in King County? Or, where did you grow up?
Yeah, sure.
Where was you born?
Oh, well, I was actually born in India, but that's a long story. I was just a baby when we left there. And my parents settled in Seattle in 1970, and so I grew up primarily in Montlake. So I went to Montlake Elementary School, and then Meany Middle School, and then Garfield High School in the 70s and 80s. So I don't know that you would know. This was back when busing was going on, and so there were busing kids around Seattle, which I think was awesome, and I was a great beneficiary of that experience, trying to have diverse schools with different populations and having all of us go to school together. And my friends and I really enjoyed that, and I really appreciated my experience in the Seattle Public Schools.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I want to know, how long have you been a judge?
I've been a judge for 5 years, which is hard to believe. It has actually gone by really fast, and of course there was a pandemic in the middle of that. I was appointed in 2018 by Governor Jay Inslee, and then you have to go through a series of elections after that. So I've been on the King County Superior Court for 5 years, and there's 54 judges that I work with.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
We're a big county.
Yeah, big county.
Okay.
I wanna ask you, so when you was growing up and you went to Garfield, how was your experience there? I know it was very diverse. What was it like growing up?
Yeah. Well, Garfield was the cool place to be, quite frankly. It had a much larger black population than it has now.
Sure.
Because the neighborhood has been significantly gentrified, and those numbers are going down. But so I came up from Montlake to go to Garfield, and it was really cool. It was really cool. And not just black and white students, but Asian as well. And I think that my classmates and I'm a class of 87.
Okay.
We're all really appreciative of the experience that we had together. We still get together and have reunions and stay in touch and see each other, So I think it was kind of a unique experience to be able to be in that environment. I think we were lucky in Seattle to have that experience, and a lot of kids today don't have that experience.
Exactly. Nowadays, honestly, too, it's a lot more gun violence than it was back then. Yeah. And what do you think is the cause of that?
Well, a big factor would be the proliferation of guns in the community. It seems anecdotally that's pretty easy for kids to get a hold of guns. They are in community, and so the availability of them.
Sure. Very accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really contributing to that.
Okay. Before you were a judge, what led up to being a judge?
Oh, that's a good question. So I decided to go to law school as I was graduating from college. My grandfather had been a lawyer, and he lived on the East Coast, and I grew up here in Seattle. But so I do have someone in my family who was a lawyer. You know, it wasn't like a foreign concept to me, which is a great advantage. You know, I talk to a lot of law students now, and they didn't have the benefit of having someone in their family who was
already
lawyer.
in the field, already.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so just learning how do you get into law school? What does it even mean to be a lawyer? You know, I kind of had this family connection to it, and I was really interested in doing something practical in the world, not something academic. So I was interested in going to law school.
Why do you think that was? You made that decision and that choice that you chose to make.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, my dad was an academic. He was a scientist, and I was kind of trying to choose between different opportunities and just thought, you know, I want to be out there doing something that's really real. And I think having that in the back of my mind that my grandfather had been a lawyer, just kind of those together made me choose that. So, you know, like I was an English major also, so I was thinking, oh, would I want to be an English professor? And so, you know, as opposed to that was kind of like, no, I think it would be more fun to do something where I'm really making a difference. So after I graduated from law school, then go back to kind of how I got to be a judge. I spent 25 years practicing as a lawyer in downtown Seattle, and I got into appellate work, which was really interesting. But after 25 years of doing kind of private practice, I really wanted to do something that was more public service oriented. And so I asked myself, am I going to change kind of my career that I'm using my law degree for and do something that's more public service oriented, or will I kind of ride it out in a private firm setting? And I got really excited about doing something that was more public service. So that's how I decided to go for the judge position.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Sure. So, you know, like I said, you know, growing up, you know, I had it hard and stuff like that. A lot of people know me from my last documentary and stuff like that. And so when, you know, I was going through the system and everything like that, how was you able to, like, you know, judge me and everything like that? How is, like, you know, what did you think of me when you first
judging?
How was you judging me?
Well, that's an interesting question. Because I saw you a bit, I think, before we got to the resolution of your case. When you know, the way it works is both sides come before the court and recommend to the court what we should do, and you had a lot of support in the community, including from community passageways, and you know, I remember your aunt came to that hearing, and but I mean, I have to say, and I don't think it'll be a surprise to anyone, I mean, you stood out as someone who was taking initiative and believed that you could be successful.
A vision.
Yeah. Yeah, you had the vision, and you were somehow able to articulate that. And it can be hard for, you know, young people in court to speak freely and articulate the ideas that they want to. But you were able to do that, and, you know, there was a strong record that your attorney provided about what you had been doing since since the case began.
For sure.
So you had also kind of a track record of making some significant changes in your life. It was really evident that you could do that.
For sure. And that's the thing, like, you know, these youth have this mentality of thinking like they have to operate in this way and I have to go out and commit crimes when they don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I was growing up, I felt like I had to do this and I was going to die by the time I'm 18. I knew that. Like, I knew I was going to die before I was 18. So I was out committing these actions that was putting me into prison, into jail, adult prison, you know, potentially. So, that just shows like I'm a clear indication, and you are too. Like, for one, judges will give you a second chance, but you got to show that you are, willing to take that chance. And then for two, you got to be willing to make the shift in your life. You can't keep operating the same way and expecting different results. It's insanity. So.
Highly on that, you got to make that. Oh, I'm about to cut you off, brother. Go ahead. Oh, no, I was saying that highly that you have to be able to and be willing to take that sacrifice and be willing to change. Like, they will give you a second chance, but also you have to realize approach and appearance is everything. So if you're looking like you don't care, if you're looking like you're just here, you're ready to get sentenced or any of that, that's what they're going to do. That's how they're going to judge you by that. So you got to also realize that your appearance, your approach, you have to, stay ahead of your case. You want to ask questions, just around that thing. And that's what a lot of youth needs to realize, that you do have a choice and you do have options, but there is a ways around it, and you have to be comfortable enough to let that be known.
What I was thinking also when you're talking is also being willing to accept help and partner with the adults who are working with you, because it can be a lot of pressure on a kid to articulate all this, but to have others who
I'll
can
say
help.
that was my biggest problem, was I didn't want the support. I wasn't comfortable with the support. The support wasn't there for me, and before. So it's like this support that I'm getting now, and for it to be the right type of support, I'm not used to that. So it's like, let me, actually test it right to see if this is the real support, this is fake support. And then it's like, once you get shown that it's real support, you have to rock it out, stick it out.
Was there a specific situation that made you like turn a new leaf?
For me and my path, yes, it was. It was the fact to see my mother crying out to me, knowing that, my actions that I was taking wasn't the best. And also for, my actions to come back and haunt, things that happen. That's not the best, not nothing that no man or no person of their family wants for them. So, just wanting better for yourself, wanting better for others around you. And then I also say is that, me and Trimarco, we've always stood around, we've always done stuff together. So it's crazy how we did all the bad together, then we transitioned and did all the good together, So it was just crazy. It took a while. Best believe it took a while, but we got there over time.
What about you?
Dang, that is a real good question. I would say, like, what helped me turn a new leaf is there's a lot of things, because it wasn't just right after I got out and right after she gave me the opportunity to be released. And I'm gonna be transparent. I didn't just was like, oh, I'm good now, let me just take a straight path. No, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be temptations, that's going to face you. It's just getting over those. So to say like the one thing that changed, I can't really say. I think it was just multiple things that happened to me that helped me change. Like, one of them mainly, it was just my relationship with God. Even with my organization, being a faith-based organization, I hold God, as a strong foundation and part of my heart, and He is the foundation of the organization, So, building my relationship with Him, for one, and then also just the things that were appearing in my life, like going outside, looking outside to see if someone was going to come knock down my door for things that I did long times ago when I was a teenager, and just being scared and always on edge. And then, I finally had, this motive and this light switch to, change. I was toting. I was telling my bro right here, I was like, bro, I don't want to have to carry this no more. I don't want to have to go to sleep and cry at night. I don't want to have to wake up and I'm sweating and stuff. And he was like, well, what do you think you should do? And I was like, I think I should get rid of this. And then, we were like, yeah, let's do it, And then, I was considering selling it. And then I was like, no, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't sell this, I should throw it, So I ditched it, and after I ditched it, I didn't have nightmares or anything no more. You know what I'm saying? I didn't wake up. Too bad I don't remember where I ditched it, but I didn't wake up no more. I didn't wake up and have sweats. It's like nobody's gonna ever find that again. And then also it's like just God was He was there for me all the way, So it's like I just wasn't thinking the same. Like, God really looked out for me. I was behind in rent. And then God showed up again, after that. So it was just like after everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. I mean, do you think that some of this was just maturing a bit? I
For
mean,
me,
what do you think of that as an
I
idea?
say I was at a point in my life where I was lost. When I say I didn't have no type of structure, and the thing is, I had very well structure, I had very well guidance, but I was at a point in my life where I seen red. I didn't really care for anything. I didn't feel like I had a worth. Like, for instance, how he was saying, I did not really expect to make it to see 18. Didn't make it to see 21. Being 21 now, and as looking back at everything I've been through and how far I came, I know for a fact that my goal, and I know for a fact it is by fault that I have to do right by my community, and I know that I have to change the community. Off the fact of there's so many people trying to change the community right now that's not in the community, that's really not caring about the community. You got to understand. When we're talking about community, we have to understand what is the definition of community.
Let's talk about the $370 budget that's going to the police that could be going to the community, but the community's budget is only $13.4 million, which is only 14% of what the funding for the police department's getting. But who's policing our communities? It's the community that's policing our communities. Organizations like mine that are connected to the youth. I'm 21 years old, and there's a lot of people don't believe a 21-year-old could run a nonprofit organization, but I'm so connected to the youth and to the streets and people that are out here that we can make the change. Why not fund an organization that's coming up, and that's honestly got a positive intentions, so I don't know. I just feel like the budgeting situation needs to be one of the things that switched, and that would just correlate with what you said, brother. So that something just told me to say that real quick.
Okay, so correlating with talking about the police, so with everything that's going on, I think I seen like a statistic saying that like 75% of murders or homicides in Seattle are going unsolved, and then it went on to say like 50%. There's a 50% chance that if you were killed by somebody, your homicide or
your murder will be solved.
It'll go unsolved or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's probably due to the lack of police that happened after all the George Floyd thing. So I wanted to know, how does that impact like the court system, if it does?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I'm not up on all the statistics, and when you start talking about the budget, you go over my head a little bit. But what I can tell you that right now at the King County Superior Court, we have a backlog on murder trials, and that kind of arose during the pandemic, and we haven't worked our way out. And it's really a staffing issue at this point, and we don't have, I should say the prosecutor's office and the public defender, they have to have available attorneys to do these cases, which are very involved. So it can be hard to get those cases to trial just because of that staffing issue with the attorneys. And we have a lot of those cases. What you're talking about makes me wonder, if filings are currently down because a lot of these cases don't have a suspect. But I don't know a lot about that.
Okay, that's all right. I was just curious, just to see if it correlated, because like I was telling you a little bit before, like I'd never been to jail. I'd never been to court. Not even to be paid for a ticket.
Not even to fight a parking ticket?
Yeah, not even for a parking ticket. Usually it's over Zoom, So I never walked into a courtroom. So I just wanted to know, like if it correlated, if it did. So.
Well, I mean, from my point of view in the courtroom, I have cases and trials, and it feels, I guess I would say normal. I mean, the King County has a high volume of cases, and if we're not hearing a criminal matter, we're hearing other types of matters. But if you're just talking about like recent kind of investigations by police and whether there are unsolved homicides out there, I don't think it would be something that we'd be experiencing right now in the courtroom. That might catch up later, because cases take a while before we see them. So, maybe
a lot of people don't understand and know that like cases take time. There's planning. You got to go through. Yeah.
Right. And it's especially difficult or challenging, I think, when it's for youth because we're trying to resolve that situation when young people, for them, time is, more important really than adults. And so we're trying to resolve juvenile cases sooner, but delay is an issue.
Earlier you mentioned having support, and with me, I had a lot of support in the community and a lot of community events that I was doing, right? What about for the youth that don't have support? What do you feel about the youth that don't have support? I know Bryonta had a question, like.
So as far as rehabilitation centers for the youth and, what is all around them, which ones would you say would be best? Like, and around as in mental health, getting back into the community and all that.
Okay, well, there's a lot to be said about how we're going to support young people, kind of both. If we're talking about juvenile court,
we could be talking about homeless, just all around that nature,
right.
Just community-wise.
Right. I think I'll start talking about the juvenile court. Yeah. So there's a lot of challenges facing young people today, right? And a lot of mental health and substance use needs. And I think as a community, we see there aren't enough providers right now. And we know marginalized communities are not well supported in health needs in these areas. So at juvenile court, we're very aware that many of the population that we're seeing have these needs. And we do screenings at juvenile court, and we try to match youth up with the supports that they need. And I think the question started off kind of, what about youth that don't have that kind of naturally? But it is part of the court system to provide that.
Sure. And that's like our goal right now, as a newly found grassroots organization, getting those relationships with the court system to help with restorative justice practices. I got the NJC certificate right now hanging up in my wall.
National Judicial College.
Yeah.
You presented there, correct?
For sure. Mm-hmm. And I talked about my organization, and they felt it, and I want the youth to feel it that's in the systems as well, because I noticed that, there's a shift going on in the systems, right? Like, you guys are more open-minded to restorative justice and rehabilitation programs, and that is so dope. But for the youth that don't have that support, and they're reluctant to going to these programs, what do you suggest for them? Like, is it because it's not more so of them not wanting to do it, they're just not used to it, right? So,
right. Not connected to it, and sometimes it carries stigma. And I think you're talking about different systems and how we can improve all of them. The school system is a big one, right? And I think schools are increasingly trying to have more counselors available and support for students. So that could be one place to seek that kind of assistance.
If you don't mind me asking, ma'am, who do you feel as if would be best for that around that field? If you don't mind me asking, as far as mental health providers, like counselors and all that, what do you think would be best?
Like, what do you mean? Like,
as in for like the youth to around mental health and stuff, except for them to help themselves.
I'm not sure how to answer your question, really.
I might be getting confused with my question myself, and I apologize about that if I am. Basically, what I was trying to ask is, how do you feel as if the youth can help themselves without the help, and also how do you feel as if the help can help the youth? Like,
Well, I think what
if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize.
Maybe you're saying that it's not obvious to youth where to go if they want support.
Awesome. Okay.
And I think that is an issue for the county at large and our communities. How do we create pathways that are known in community and accessible to youth who want this kind of support? And we do have an explosion of need after the pandemic. And even for youth who are seeking a counselor, it can be really hard to find one. Even for families that have healthcare coverage that would pay for that. So that is really an area, I think, as a community that we need to look at to stand up these resources and paths for for our youth, and I think we're all realizing that, youth really need this. And I think nationally, too, there's a recognition that there is a crisis in mental health care, and it affects youth
Most
as well.
definitely, yes.
It's like a lot of these youth have a gang banging mentality, and with us being older adults that had that gang banging mentality, I think it would be best if they have mentors like us, that know a little bit about them, not just read it online or did some statistics, but actually been through some of the same experiences they went through. I've been shot, and some more, all types of stuff, that.
Yeah, tell me about how you see that. I mean, how do you see yourselves affecting youth who are younger than you, maybe with some of the maturity that you've gained?
Let TaShon go on that. He's been quiet over there. He's
been letting you guys ask
too questions. Cool for school.
But you gotta really, because they don't really know about you, but they need to.
But what I think that we could do as young adults to help the youth is definitely, and me and Trimarco kind of implement this, is just really just checking in. I think just being somebody that they could look up to and actually leading them a different way than what they're used to or what they're accustomed to. Because the thing is a lot of people, they either don't know or they're just products of their environment. They are where they come from, and that's real. And I think that, as young adults that have been past, young adults who are on the road to success and things like that, I think that we can, collectively together, just keep being the big brother, keep being the big, the dude that somebody looks up to.
Yeah, for real. I'll say around that nature, really, they need more people that care about them, more people that can relate to them, and sincerely, more people that are committed to actually seeing them grow, more people that actually want to see them doing better, and also they do have to want better for themselves, because you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink, Everybody can want everything for you, but you have to want it for yourself. You have to be willing to change. And, I can really relate to this, so am I, making that good transition from being who you are to changing to, who you need to become. There's a lot of things you're going to have to sacrifice. There's a lot of people you're going to have to lose. And then there's a realization that you have to realize is that why are you doing this? Where are you going to be 5 years from now? Where are you going to be 10 years from now? Who are you going to be with? And then you got to also, what legacy are you leaving behind, And as far as the youth needing to be led better, it's that time. It's been that time. Like, if no one has noticed, the majority of all the killings going on right now are young adults between the ages of 14 through 19. And I can say this, that is sad to say off the fact of, when we were that age, I can say we were wild, we did what we did, but at the end of the day, we still were in the community. We still play sports and stuff. It's like there's no opportunities, and then it's like a lot of people feel as if they don't have opportunities. So that aspect has to change, and then, we have to also change it for them and lead them and let them know that they are better opportunities for them.
Yeah. I would say, you don't necessarily have to choose to be a product of your environment when you can be a prodigy of your environment. Look up to, billionaire black people that are actually invested into themselves and into their crafts, their legacy and the type of impact they want to make on people. We gotta spread the love by showing them the do's and don'ts, not saying do as I say but not as I do. So not only are we going to tell you to do right, but we're going to show up and show you how to do it. We're going to show up and bring the community aspect. We're going to show up and do a podcast and bring people from the systems and people from the community to bridge the gap so people could hear the both perspectives and come together. It's a simple dialogue. And honestly, I feel like it's just a mentality. A lot of youth just have a mentality, and just listening to these songs and stuff like that. Like, there's people that know me for being a bully, and there's some people that know me for being a courageous stand-up dude. And then, it's just a mentality. But, when I was I'm sure Judge Rothrock, you seen the reports when I was in juvenile. I was getting in a lot of trouble out there in there versus when I was out. And the reason why is because it was a lot of, for one, testosterone building up in there, just around a whole bunch of guys, and a mentality. Exactly. Everyone wants to be the tough guy. Everyone wants to be so tough. And, when you're in there and you're thinking you're facing juvenile life and you're going to get sent up, now you got to get ready for that. So you're trying to make sure nobody messes with you. So you're working out and putting on this persona like you're super tough. And, I'm not saying I'm a square or nothing. I am that, but to be that 100% of the time, 7 days a week, why? I only want to stand up for people, so if I'm using my physical abilities to harm someone, that's not okay. We shouldn't be doing that. And now people don't even want to fight. People want to shoot. At least when you're in jail, you can't kill each other.
Because that's another thing, is also a lot of people are scared of, what's
fighting
going on,
or losing a fight, getting
and
embarrassed,
that's terrible.
social media.
Attention seeking, I'll say. Attention seeking is the biggest pet peeve of this generation, and that's really is sad, very sad. And you are very much right, brother.
Yeah, so we could show up on stuff like this. If the media, if that's what attracts the youth in the community, we're going to show up on a podcast and have something to give them positive, and there's so much toxicity going on the algorithm, because that's what it is. It's all an algorithm, so whatever you're thinking is going to pop up on your mind, so you be thinking something and then you see it on your phone and you be like, oh, I should get that, and then you see it on your phone. That's an algorithm. So
manifestation, mind is powerful.
Yeah, me, TaShon, we always talk about the cars we want. I wake up in the morning and I know it's going to be a good day when I see a G-Wagon. I'm going to have a G-Wagon. Brother wakes up, see a Corvette or a Lamb, he knows it's going to be a good day because he sees that and he puts it on his mind. I don't believe that it's just there just coincidentally. Like, we wasn't just seeing G-Wagons like this before we thought about having them. We start seeing them more once we start thinking about it.
But do you know why that was, though? Because you guys are at a point in you guys where you guys have been shown that you guys need to lead better. You guys need to show them better. And you guys have been doing that. And now it's time for, all that to be gifted back to you guys in era of the new beginnings and all the new opportunities you guys have coming,
For sure.
For sure.
And especially like I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, I'm bringing people on that dealt with stuff in the community, and even if they didn't deal with it personally, they know someone who dealt with it, who's been incarcerated, or they've been incarcerated, or they know someone who's been molested, or they've been molested. We're bringing people on here that deal with real problems and tragedies, so just connection. That's what I wanted to say. Like, having a connection with one another and having transparency. That's the goal.
Experience. Here. Mainly people with experience.
Exactly.
We want people with experience off the fact of experience brings growth, which brings wisdom, which brings understanding.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you're doing your workshops kind of for some youth. How are you
facilitating them?
Yeah, how's that
going? Sure. So I host 4 different workshops. One is financial literacy. One is personal development, social justice, and public speaking. And so with all those workshops, we pay them stipends, $250 to treat them, because we want to prevent them from, I wish it could be more, honestly. Let me just point out that fact. But with me being a grassroots organization, I don't have that kind of budget. So I pay them what I can. And off of what I can, I tell them, like, this is so you don't have to go commit a crime to go get those new shoes. Or you don't have to go rob somebody to get some money so you could pay the light bill. I understand you're going through these things, and eventually our workshops are going to be lasting more. But, I teach them, give them games so they could leave these workshops with skills. With anything else, you left it with skills and a $250 bonus. Don't come just for a $250 bonus, because that's all it is a bonus. The money is that's just a little cherry on top. But with the skills that you're learning and the things that you're going through is going to help you grow and mature into the young adult that you're supposed to be.
A lot of knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah. And it's not just boys. Like, we had young women come through the program. We had, and young adults, young men. Sorry. Yeah.
Gender doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. My brother started this to, so we can, take back our youth, but mainly really take back our youth. And just because we know for a fact that it's time for a change to be made, and it knows the fact that we're able to do it.
Youth and young adults. Yeah. I mean, adults too. Adults still learning.
Financial
literacy. a lot of adults don't know financial literacy. They don't know how to work a credit card, you know. And even with my financial literacy, I'm still learning stuff as I go, you know, bringing people on from banks and stuff like that. So, you know, the youth can, you know, see that success is real, you know. Success is real.
They know that it's real. They can feel that it's real, and they know that it's coming to them real. You feel me? Their own community, people that have been raised around them, and, you know, just all that nature.
It's real. It's real. Yeah, I think it's just important, especially being people that, you know, grew up in this community, grew up in Seattle, and, you know, you're well known, and, you know, it's good to be the person that somebody can see and be like, oh, I remember you from this, and, you know, now you're doing this. And
being known for the right things versus being wrong.
Let me figure out what you're doing so that way, you know, let me know what you're doing so that way I can follow in your footsteps and, you know, make some money, and, you know, so, and that's real. Like, you know, a lot of people, and like I said earlier, it's just like the unknowing is not, like, people don't know. The black community doesn't know, like, that there's ways out here to really legally get money, you know, and, like, in a business aspect, and people don't know about those things. I do real estate. I tell my mom about my Airbnb business. She's like, huh? What? That don't sound like nothing that's gonna, you know, that's sustainable, you know, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Very much so. So it's like, you know, and there's proof of it. So it's always good being the person in the community that people look up to and know that, dang, like, I remember, like I said, remember you from Franklin and you was just hooping. Now you know you're doing this. Dang, how'd you do that? You know, so yeah, I think that's really important too. Is just giving that knowledge. Knowledge is key.
One thing I always say is, where you're at right now will always lie to you.
Real.
You know, so, like, where you're at right now, don't believe where you're at right now, because it'll always lie to you. You could be somewhere else in the future. So what we're known for right now, we won't be known for
5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Like, people could hear us. Like, we'll post a podcast and stuff, but we're going to be doing other things. You know, we want the next generation to lead this, you know, and the next generation after them to lead this. You know, it's a legacy.
There's a lot of coming things, you know, from... Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of things coming.
A lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
And not, you know, we ain't going to spill the beans, but just know that they're cooking, and, you know, there's a lot of excitement coming, new journeys, new beginnings.
For sure. And we want all people on here. It's not just people, like, that have made something of themselves. It's like we want all type of people to come on here, community people that's been through, you know, traumatic events and experiences. Exactly.
Literally, that's all we want is experience.
Like, there's a saying in the community that goes like, it's a fee to talk to me, but it's literally a fee every time I talk. Like, when I go do my speeches and talk about my experiences, they pay me for them, you know, and it's because it's knowledge, right? And that's something that they can't take away from me or nobody else knows about because it's my experiences. So, you know, there's workshops out here. Radioactive, #1, you know, they got workshops on their radio station where you could talk about your story as a youth and get paid for it, to talk about your experience. People love to hear that because you don't know who is experiencing the same thing. You know?
There's a lot out there. There's a lot of organizations that will honestly be willing to help. You just got to put yourself out there, you know, like Radioactive, you have Community Passaway, Creative Justice, you know. There's a lot out there, and one thing about it, and I can tell you, I've worked with Community Passaways and Creative Justice, and I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for Coach Dom, I wouldn't be who I am. The impact that he had on me and the way that
Who's Coach Dom?
Dominique.
Dominique from playing Big Bro.
From, you know, Community Passaway. That's who, you know, got us in that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, he's a big part of my success off the fact of I was at a point in my life where, like I said before in the beginning of the podcast, I did not care about my life. I didn't care, you know, what I had to offer. I didn't care about my worth. I knew what I had to offer. I knew my worth. It's like I know what I'm capable of doing, but the actions of what I'm doing are something different, you know. So it's like just changing that, and he's seen, he believed it. So, you know, he changed a lot of things. And also my brother Trimarco, like Trimarco, I will say this man he's one of the most dominant, you know, funniest, goofiest, but firm believers. And so is TaShon. And, you know, it's just as if, like, I'll say this, brother's the founder, co-founder. They reached out to me with the idea, and it's like, it was so crazy, but I am very thankful and I'm very grateful to be here. And my brothers have so much coming. Like, when I tell you they are so dope, Tashon.washington and Trimarcogreen, you guys are going to know those names forever. I promise you that. But, just a new beginnings and new blessings,
Well, that is so awesome for you. And Dominique Davis is a pillar in the community, doing so much good work.
Awesome.
See, he's inspired all of you. That's very
off the
cool.
rip.
Mm-hmm.
Dom's the reason why I do what I do.
Yes, I'm going to be honest with you. I got out the field for a while and, was doing wrong things, had to, fix myself and get back right. I was fighting a lot of dark phases in myself. But every day I had to remember what my uncle told me. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And you can start everything in the world, but how you going to finish it? Because I can tell you right now, I can start this right now. We can start our podcast right now. Will it finish? It's like, it's just all those things. And then it's like, you could start picking up, you can start cooking. Are you going to finish your cooking? It's just knowing yourself, knowing what you're capable of, knowing your weakness and your strengths, and also building from it. And not letting what could stop you. You have to overcome and, overpower things.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dom is the reason I started this organization, and he's the reason why I do what I do, because seeing all the lives that he changed and impacted and how he even changed mine, I was like, all it could take is one person, for one person to start their own organization, for one person to start their own podcast, for one person to, give back to the community. That's all it takes, so, just trying to push a movement and believing in it. He believes in what he does, and that's why he's successful now. I believe in what I do, and that's why I'm at where I'm at now, sitting across with you. I was like, has anybody ever came and talked to you after their case? And you was like,
yeah. It takes a village, but
It does.
It starts off with him. You got Brandon Shell, Paul Sutton, Tora Tate. There's a bunch that was there.
He's giving shout outs.
I'm not
shout out.
I'm not gonna give shout outs, but at the same time, you feel me? I'm gonna say what it is and what it's not. You feel me? It took a village. Like, you feel me? Like a real deal village. Like, and I will say this right now: you would do something and you'll think someone would give up on you, and they don't do nothing but believe in you even more. It'll shock you, and it will really change you
when you're giving up on yourself.
And when you.
They ain't even stop giving up on you then when you give up on yourself.
To the point, because I'll tell you, my dark phases, my brother was right there every step of the way. Every step of his dark phase, I was there. You feel me? Even at the times when we didn't talk, we was always,
Both of these guys, they both came and visited me on house arrest.
It gets crazy because it's like, I can tell you right now, and you wouldn't believe this, each person at this table, at least 11 years plus. Our sisters used to be best friends. I've been knowing this man. You feel me? Sister used to be in drill team with his mother. Like, you feel me? It's community, and the crazy part about it, what makes community, is experience, actions, and also good and bad. No matter how it's gonna go, and you feel me? I am, as you saying, product of our environment, but I am a great, role model of my.
You're a prodigy, King. You're a prodigy.
Yeah, prodigy. South Seattle.
It's real.
Yeah.
But you are, though. Real. You are a product. You Dominique Davis became a part of your community.
Yes.
And that's who you are, a product of your environment.
Honestly, we became a part of his community, because if it wasn't for his community, we wouldn't even have no community.
Right, real. My bad. The other way around.
Let the passageway.
You hear me play?
Let the passageway.
I'm going to say, but yeah, it's just that time for a better change, and time that we applied ourselves and taking back our communities that we know needs to be taken back and showed it the right way.
That's real. It's real. It's 100.
It's real.
You're paying it forward.
Definitely.
It's nice.
Yeah. I would say, like, for me, like, it took, like my dad was never really in my life. Like, I could have very much ended up with you as my judge. You know what I'm saying? Like, without a doubt. I grew up in the same neighborhood as these guys. You know what I'm saying? But, like I was saying earlier, you need that big brother that, and that I'm blessed. I had my stepdad come into my life and when I was in middle school, and he taught me how to hustle legally. Like, we're about to go cut this grass. you're about to make some money today. You know, sixth, seventh grade. You know, just learning little things like that. Learning, and then like my mom, being who she is, she works. She's a principal for Seattle Public School District, and she's really big on like education and staying in school, and and I never really, I won't say that's what kept me in school, because that I was very, very hard headed, but I would say more so my stepdad, and what she showed me though is that you definitely have to work hard for what you want in life, because man, this it's not going to be given to you. It's not going to come easy, and it takes the little change day by day. So yeah, I think them two together, I think that's. Man, that changed a lot. That changed a lot.
Yeah, we all have things that got us where we need to be, and people that got us where we need to be, and people that taught us right from wrong, so that we still choose to make a wrong one. But
Well, one thing y'all show to me is that if we can get our young people through these patches of difficulty when they're struggling, they will come out the other side and be part of the community in there, leading and helping and productive members of our society, like we like to say.
Energy rubs off.
Yeah. And it's so critical, and those are the outcomes, that we're looking for. And so, you're modeling that kind of idea that if people get help through that patch, they're gonna come out the other end.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So, it's like lovely having you on here. I'm not gonna lie, because when I first seen you, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm gonna be transparent. I was like, this white lady is gonna send me to jail.
I promise you, that's what I thought. I'm not gonna lie.
I said this white lady is gonna send me to jail.
Scared, bro.
I was like, I'm black.
It was
I'm already out.
For us. And what's so crazy? I didn't even have. It was Coach. No, not Coach. It was Judge Martinez, if I'm not mistaken.
Or Judge Diaz.
No, Diaz. That's who it was.
Yeah,
oh
nice
my.
He's cool though.
He's cool. I'm gonna tell you right now. Cool. Going into it, what you're thinking versus what comes out afterwards, it's crazy, because it's like I'm going to. I'm like, oh, I'm about to go to jail. I know it's not about to be good. Let me go ahead, text everybody. Let me make my, whoop to whoop, do what I have to do. Then he started asking me real questions. It gets to the point I had a judge ask me questions that people in my family, people in my community didn't even ask me. Like, I'm going to be real with you. I had a judge ask me a question. He asked me, how long did it take? And what I did was I started bragging, on my crime that I did. I was like, it took me this long. I got in, out, whoop to whoop. He said, so it took you 5 minutes to throw your life away. It took you 5 minutes. Was that 5 minutes worth this? He said, so you got to understand, you have 5 minutes in a day, right? 5 minutes from now, I'm going on my lunch. 5 minutes from now, your census is this. 5 minutes from now, somebody's having a baby. 5 minutes, you have to understand time management is everything. All it takes is 1 second. And after he said that, I kid you not, it stuck with me forever. And it's funny because I had to deal with him later on in life. And the last time I dealt with him and I made this statement, I said, you will never ever see me in your courtroom again. I ain't got no charges in that in over 4 to 5 years. I mean that, you feel me? And it's like me being who I am, the person I am, if you know me, you know what I was known for was not great things, not good things at all. But that transition from being known to, like, having someone come up to you be like, bro, you were on TV for doing this, and I seen you helping the community doing this, and I seen you talking with the homeless, and I seen you talking downtown at the, Riley and stuff. That hits different. It makes you feel good, because then it's like, wow, I am making a change. Like,
what are you being known for?
I'm having people come up to me that I never even knew. Like, I'm having people that I'm telling them that they make me change my ways. They're telling me I make them change my ways to see the transition of who you are and what you became. And like I will say, my brothers motivate me. One that really motivates me is TaShon. TaShon motivates me off the fact of my brother did not have to go the straight route. My brother did not have to not be in the streets. He chose to do everything that he chose to do for the righteousness, because he knew that he had a better future. He knew what he had to do. And just knowing that those ones that the ones that are around that's not, being stuck, not being, is good to see that, like, for instance, products of our environments. everybody's a product of their environment. However, we're all from the same environment, but we all came up differently. We all came up, but we still connect in every which way. Every which way.
I want to play a game real quick. All right, so you're 16 years old. What did you see yourself being when you grew up?
Like maybe a dog groomer or a veterinarian or something. I really liked animals.
Random. Okay, we're going to go around and we're going to talk about why. 16, what did you see yourself being?
16, I really didn't know. At a young age, I wanted to be a lawyer. But then it went into more, I was really good at math. And I wanted to do like something like engineering or something, but I just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't know. Like, it was engineering. I was so far.
We're gonna talk about why.
I'm trying to. I was hooping. I'm trying to. I'm trying to go D1.
I'm not gonna lie, brother got a cold jump shot. I one of no other. All right, Bryonta, what did you see yourself being? 16 years old.
16 years old. Oh my. I didn't see myself being alive. If I was to be alive, I would see myself honestly doing either photography work, working in community speaking field, or I would hopefully be able to, my clothing brand to get started. Because, at that time, when at the age of 16, all I cared about was podcasts, clothing brands, sports, and, doing stupid, dumb stuff that I had no business doing,
Right.
But it's like, I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad we went through what we went through in order to get to where we needed to be.
All right. 16, I see myself being rich. I just didn't know how. I was like, my mom told me, she was like, you're either going to be rich the good way or the bad way. She was like, you get to choose. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, how long could I be rich? Like, how long is it going to take if I go the bad way? So I was like, and then, explain, and I'll explain why I see myself being rich. But go ahead and explain why you see yourself being a dog groomer.
Or a veterinarian.
Anything
to do with animals. I don't know. I just always loved animals, and I thought that would be cool.
Do you have any animals?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what do you have?
I have a dog and 2 cats.
Dog and 2 cats? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's awesome. Do they get along?
They get along, and I don't believe anyone has to be only a dog person or only a cat person. Right. You can be both.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I was really good at math, like to the point where I definitely finessed my way all through high school. I would skip class a lot. This is what I'm saying. Like, I was very hard-headed. Even though my mom was a principal, I wasn't really listening to what she had. It was really my stepdad. Like, and yeah, I was really good at math, but I just would never go to class. I'll just go for whenever there's a test and pass, cheat. And I was just like, I don't know. I'm gonna make some money somehow.
And what's so crazy? I was one of them kids too. Like, for me, I'll be honest with you, I was never one of them kids that came to school every day. I came to school every other day, but I was just able to pass. I was naturally able to be smart. I was always able to pay attention. I was always able to do my own work, and but at the same time, I wish as I got older that I did stay in school. You feel me? That we did, because it's like, I saved so much time out of school doing so much bull stuff that was not important to the fact of I could have been in school learning so much stuff that could have helped me be a millionaire right now, a billionaire.
Right.
What is bull stuff?
Bull stuff basically is stuff that you shouldn't be doing, that that you have betterness you could be doing, but you're doing bad. So badness, bull stuff.
I was going to ask you that, like, if you felt that school, did you feel included in the school community?
Honestly, for me, I'll tell you right now, the reason why I was not attracted to school, we wasn't learning about nothing that I needed in my life at that time. Every time, anything that I really needed to learn, I was learning in the real world. I'm not learning it at school. I'm learning outside of school. I'm learning it going through stuff. I'm going through experiences. I'm not, none of this stuff. The only thing that I really honestly cared about, because I'm just a person of this, is like language arts. I love anything that got to do with writing. Free writing on my soul. Love it. History, I'm all about history. I love history.
I had
history
an A++ in there.
I'm telling you,
I didn't even know
history.
that exists.
We can get into it. Like, that was really my gym and robotics. It was so crazy. I'm into robotics and aerospace, and I didn't know that I had a love for it until then. For real, like literally.
Yep, that's what it was. Aeronautical engineer. That's what I wanted to be.
Yep. Literally, like,
That's what's
and
up.
I was just at a point where I didn't care for school, and then it took me to get towards my senior year. Well, they told me straight like this: Well, you're missing a whole year of school. Well, you're not going to be able to graduate on time. Oh, for real? What are my options? Oh, okay. Now I have to push myself to apply. So just like I applied myself to not be at school, I got to apply myself to graduate. It's grind time. I can't come outside. I can't kick it. I can't do nothing. I got homework I got to do. I got to be in the house. Oh, as soon as football practice is over, straight to the library. Oh, if I'm missing practice, I'm in the library catching up on homework. Like, at that time, there was a big difference, you know. But things happen, and you have to get to where you have to get to.
That's real. That's real. And I would say, like, I'm not highlighting, like, not going to class. Like,
No.
That messed me up so much.
Go
I
to
got
class.
college.
Get your
I
home.
got to college, and I did college my senior year at Run and Start. And, like, I was doing good at first, you know, and then I just slipped. And I failed, like, half of the year, but thank God there was COVID. Everybody passed that year.
I didn't. Hey, okay, I got a backstory actually about that, because brother, you've just laid out a good point. Because I seen some people graduate that shouldn't have graduated, and I was mad. I was like, how did they graduate? They was never in class. So during that time, I was actually incarcerated. So I was going to school in there, but I was behind in credits. So I was going to school in Alder when I was in there, but I didn't finish. So when I got out, I didn't go straight back to school. It took time, so I had to go online, and then they was tripping about the computer and stuff.
In 6 months.
So,
You're in 6 months. When you went back to school is when I went back.
oh really?
You're in 6 months.
Okay. Well, yeah. So then I went back to school. I reclassified at Linwood. It's awesome. It was just like, you know, I mind my business. A lot of people were quirky out there, you know, to themselves. I was like the one kind of bringing culture, you know. They're
Were you
like,
playing sports for
I was.
them? Yeah,
Yes.
no
I played football for
Uh-huh.
them. Yep. And
That's
I
when he
actually
led.
finished there. So that's where I got my diploma from. So yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah,
It was
But I had to
crazy on
reclassify.
defense.
It's okay to reclassify, man. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. At least you're going back to get
Right,
your
get
stuff.
it done.
Listen,
Get it
I'm going
done.
to say this, and this is coming from my experience with school, and this is just my experience in life. Do what's best for you. No one knows what's best for you. If you feel as if college is for you, college is for you. You feel like it's not for you. Do what's best for you. No one ever knows what's best for you but you. People can help guide you to, you know, get to the obstacles that you need to be or get you to on that path, but no one knows what's best for you. And then when you know what's best for you, you have to make consistent actions. And what we say by consistent actions, as in you have to stay on top of it. Not only do you have to stay on top of it, you have to let your actions speak. Actions over word over everything. Actions over word every time. Because we could talk about everything in the world, but where actions are we going to get there, you know? Like, for instance, we talked about all what we want to do. We talked about where we want to go. What are we doing to get there from now? How are we helping each other right now? Or how are we helping ourselves get to where we need to be, you know?
I love the word help, bro.
Right.
Because, like, I feel like enough of us don't receive it.
As I got older, I'm going to be real with you, I had to start adapting to the word. Like, I used to hate the word help because I seen help in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, I come from a strong dominant woman. And when I say strong dominant woman, I mean miss, you feel me, miss make it happen, miss throw it on, miss get it together, miss bounce back. And like my mother is a big part of my success, like a big part of my father. Also, I have both of my parents. Don't get me wrong for a moment. I have both of my parents in my life. I chose to do wrong on my own, you feel me? And yes, they both were there fully, you know. I came from, you know, but I chose to make wrong actions.
Because we set up a poll because we thought it would be fun. Like, what do you guys want to ask the judge, you know? We talked a lot about you, your background, me. So it's time to have some fun. And a lot of these questions are from the community. We do have to ask you them. So it's going to be fun. All right. So the first question is going to be, what is it like to ruin people's lives?
Ah,
That's sick.
That's a sick question.
That's a sick question. I don't even like the way that they asked that question.
But
because
they
they tried
asked
to be
it.
funny.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that in a better way.
Yeah.
What no, for real. What is the toughest part of your job? That's a better question.
Not that also, what strengths and weakness does a judge go through when they have to, you know, have a opponent case coming up?
Okay,
you
one
know?
question at a time. Starting with my question. But TaShon fixed.
Yeah, what's the toughest part about being a judge?
Yeah.
Well, it is an awesome responsibility. I think that kind of gets to maybe Trimarco more what how the question
She didn't ruin my life.
First
Whoever
came out.
whoever said that.
But it really is. We know as judges that people's lives are in our hands,
Right.
and we are trying to make the best decision. And we have an adversary system, so we're hearing from the different people with an interest, whether it's criminal or something else. There's a lot of really important decisions we make about children, and what's going to happen in their families, or whether they're
Sure.
going to be, declared a ward of the state because they're having issues in their families, and people who are, grievously hurt. So there's a lot of really serious things that come before us all the time.
For sure.
And I think we all feel an obligation to have some procedural fairness in what we're doing so that people feel like they got heard.
Right.
One thing we often recognize is that at the end of the day, one side's going to be unhappy and one side's going to be happy, right? So we're always going to be displeasing people.
That is true.
But I think it's just really important to me that people who come before me feel seen and that they recognize that I'm listening to them and I see them as a person. So I think that's an important part to me of going out every day into the courtroom and making these tough decisions.
Sure.
Also, I would point out that, we have to follow the law, and the legislature writes the law.
Right.
And they do so on all of our behalves. But I think sometimes people think, the judge can do anything they want, right? And that's just not really the case. We are applying the law based on the facts that have been shown before us and trying to reach as wise a decision as we can. And, we know we're seeing people often at their worst moments.
Yes.
And so it's always a challenge.
I'm sure it gets tough facing criticism too, like what's it like running people's lives and stuff like that. Like, you face criticism being a judge, right? And, also like you said, people be unhappy. What about when those people are unhappy? Like, do you ever like fear for your life and stuff like that? Or is it like, how does that make you feel? Like knowing that, not everyone's going to be okay with the results?
Well, I think it would be dishonest of me if I said that security isn't an issue, particularly, more and more the rule of law is coming under attack. And I think people talk in terms of black and white when it comes to positions or decisions. And, the world is really gray in a lot of places, and there's a lot of nuance involved. So I think it is a challenge to also communicate to the community and the world at large what judges do and how they do it. You were kind of all speaking to this, that, a lot of people that you've been talking with in community don't really know what happens in the courtroom.
Yeah, they really don't know what's going on in courtroom.
Yeah.
They think they know, which tends to make them do certain actions. That's
what this is for, to bridge the gap.
Yeah, and I think, the court can always do a better job in bridging that gap and trying to be out there explaining what we're doing and how we're doing it.
A community question that I got on my end that I got asked to ask you was, what is a judge's thought process when they're, having to make a tough decision and stuff?
Right. Well, generally, we're looking at what the law is telling us. What is the decision we need to make? Is it a discretionary decision, or does the law pretty much confine what we're doing? And then when we're weighing evidence, just like a jury, we're trying to decide how persuasive the evidence is on a certain point. And we're trying, I think, in terms of diversity and all the different people that come before us, there are things you can do to ask yourself. For example, if you're doing a dissolution and you've got a man and a woman, and, you could ask yourself, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do with the assets. If I swap them around, and now, I'm thinking I change the genders, does that do something to my decision? Kind of checking of whether you're using any bias in your decision.
So pros and cons and thinking about all fully strengths and weaknesses before.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
What was the transition like from attorney to being a judge?
That's a great question.
By the way, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I mean, for one thing, it's a little surreal after you've been working as a lawyer for decades, appearing before judges to then be the person who's walking out the door and sitting in that chair. So there's some kind of just like a surreal, you have to get over kind of that.
Stardom.
Yeah. And it's a really different job, right? Because as a lawyer, you're advocating, and so you can argue and take a position and try and make it seem, you put the case together so that the person you're representing can win.
Yeah, and for the people that don't know, what kind of attorney was you?
I did primarily commercial disputes.
Okay.
A lot of business disputes.
Okay, that's dope. So you know a lot about business.
Definitely.
Or at least how to defend them.
Okay, for sure.
Well,
I know who to contact, just in case.
Well, you gotta understand. That's also dope. How you went from having to make decisions on giving opinions to giving the opinion to having to be the main entitled one to be the head forcer, and that's really dope. And we were very, 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 very proud to see how that got you, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
You guys in the phones.
I apologize. I thought mine was already on sentence.
No, this is you, really.
I got one community question. What it's kind of funny too, because a lot of black people do this. So when they send that jury duty thing in the mail,
I already know.
What happens?
He said a lot of black people do.
Yeah. They just ignore it. Is that a bad thing to do?
Yes, it's a bad thing to do, and I wanted to ask you guys about this. That's so funny that you brought it up, because it is really important that we have juries that reflect our community.
Okay.
And so we need juror turnout. And, I understand that, as I tell jurors who do show up all the time, it's hard to accommodate jury duty, but it is really kind of the central core of the justice system. And we solve our disputes, we solve criminal charges, we solve so many things by gathering 12 people from the community together to judge the evidence and reach a decision together. And there's a lot of instructions that we give jurors on how to work together, and it's just critical that people respond to their jury summons and be a part of that process, because we can only reflect the community in our juries when people show up.
I ain't gonna
so
say.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna just get straight to the point with it. I don't know what they want to say, but I'm gonna say. So if you want to change things in this world and change things in this life, step up. It's easy. It's that simple. If you want to see cases change, if you want to see the way that police is treating our community, or even see the way our community is treating our community, step up.
We have a lot of new measures in place to make sure that people aren't unfairly excluded from jury duty. And, people can come in and say, based on their lived experience, they're not necessarily think well of police and not be excluded from the jury. So it didn't always used to be like that. We had a lot of exclusion from juries, but we have a new court rule. Our Washington State Supreme Court is very active in its case law regarding retaining jurors of color. So there's a lot going on in the space, and I just really want to emphasize how welcome the court is to all jurors, and we want you to come in, and I think I think jurors will be, they are, when they come in and serve, they're fascinated to see and participate in the system.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's awesome. I think that's good for now. Let's wrap it up. If you got any other questions, or you guys got any other questions for her?
Nah, I think we we did. This was really, really good.
This is
I-
awesome.
Honestly,
yeah.
I feel as if this was great, and I would love to, honestly, if you would like to, for you to come back later on.
I would love to. I mean, I want to say it's a privilege to
Just
talk with you
for-
guys, and I would like to hear more about your experience. It was interesting to me when you talked about like what it felt like when the judge came out,
sure.
you know, to
definitely,
judge
yeah.
your case, and you know, so there and all the things you're doing, which is really exciting, and I'm so proud of you. I really am. So I'd love to come back anytime.
Yeah. What is it like? Like, what is the difference before we end from me being across from you and being across from you right now? Like, what is the difference?
Before
Like,
and now?
Before and now.
Well, I don't know that there's much difference. Although you have, you know, you showed up. I'll tell you this, Trimarco. You showed up for me when I asked you to, so I decided I would show up for you.
Appreciate that so much.
You see, it is.
She's seen it in you.
That's
in
why.
the room.
The reason why you did it, and the reason why he did it, is because you guys both know that that action needs to be taken. You feel me? With that action being taken, now we're able to do this, and it needs to be done.
And you see how I'm bringing a message. Tried to take me out straight through the back door, but I promise I'm still getting checked in.